So I have been following very closely a really interesting new worker-led effort to unionize a bank, specifically Wells Fargo. Let's go ahead and put this tear sheet up on the screen. This is from The Guardian. They say, well, workers at Wells Fargo, the third largest bank in the U.S., are pushing to organize a union across the bank's workforce with Wells Fargo Workers United, a campaign with the Committee for Better Banks, which successfully won the first union contract in the banking industry in 40 years at Beneficial Bank in 2021. So joining us now to talk about these efforts and why they're so significant and how it's going and all of those good things is Jessie McCool. She is a worker organizer at Wells Fargo, and she joins us now. Great to have you, Jessie. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys, too. And thank you for having us on to speak. This is truly a humbling experience that you all are interested in our story at our little big bank over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've followed a lot of the various Wells Fargo scandals. And one of the things that really intrigued me as part of what you all talked about was, you know, a lot of these scandals came from workers feeling a lot of pressure to do things they really shouldn't be doing in a way that they really didn't want to do. But they had no power to sort of, you know, go up the chain or be a whistleblower because they'd just ultimately be fired. So just talk about some of the genesis of this idea of unionizing in order both to better your working conditions, but also to potentially fight fraud at this bank.
Sure. I mean, the Committee for Better Banks has been around for some time. And if you asked me in 2018, when I just dipped my toe in to see, you know, if this was something worth pursuing, and then in becoming fully involved, if you asked me that we would have the success that we've currently have, I would have been knocked over with a feather. So part of the reason why I got involved, and as well as the reasons of many of my coworkers as to why they've got involved, is due to the fact that we see issues around fair and equitable pay, personal safety at work, whether that is related to physical safety or a commitment, you know, post-pandemic to, you know, keep medically vulnerable coworkers safe. We also see issues around compensation when it comes to Charlie Scharf gets a 20% raise. However, we're fighting for pennies on the dollar. And then underlying all of that is a transparency issue. And this is where I think it kind of connects to the previous scandals that Wells Fargo has had. Policies, procedures, processes, whether it relates to compensation, the various isms, racism, sexism, nepotism, things like that, whether it relates to workload reassignment, physical safety, medical safety. There is little to no transparency around those issues. And what Wells Fargo requires us to do in our training and tells us to do is raise your hand, raise your hand. Well, during our most publicized scandal, 6,000 people raised their hands and HR ignored it. So how is that a means to an end of getting a better workplace for us as workers, and then for our own clients so that we can effectively advocate for them as well?
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into that. I think that's important, which is that you want to advocate not only for the clients that, you know, overwhelmingly you actually have to deal with, not the executives, but also in order to make sure that you have more of a say at work. So what are some of the steps that you guys are taking in order to make sure that that happens?
Well, some of the steps that we're taking is we learned a lot during the pandemic. We are a large bank. There's 4 primary divisions. There's the retail bank, the business bank, wealth and investment management, and then our commercial and investment banking division. We have diverse employees over a wide geographic range, and there's almost 300,000 of us. Now, one of the main issues with previous scandals, and then some of the ones that are occurring now, like the mortgage one, is that, like I said, they ask us to raise our hand and bring light to issues that are unfair or have the potential to cause reputational or regulatory risk. And that system is broken. So we've taken to organizing online during the pandemic and using non-traditional methods such as Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Slack, Discord to connect with our coworkers. And now that all re-entering the workplace and see each other face to face, we're using some of the more traditional on the ground organizing tactics to keep the momentum going. And currently, what we have seen is we have membership in 29 states. In the past quarter, 600 unique members have taken some sort of action, whether that is to, join one of our organizing channels, attend a training where we educate people about their rights, or attend trainings where, we can help them find their voice that's been historically ignored so that they then can stand up and say, no, I know this is wrong. I'm advocating for me. And as part of my job, we tout doing what's right for the client. So I'm not just organizing and advocating for me. I'm advocating for the client because, as you guys have seen in our reports, our recent diversity report, we said that we wanted to be reflective of the visions and values of the communities that we serve. Well, we live in those communities, and we want to advocate for ourselves and our fellow community members.
Right. Well, because you all aren't the one getting the payday when clients are getting screwed over also. So it's put everybody in a horrific position, and to have just an ability to speak out and be that whistleblower would be crucial in and of itself. I'm curious how management has responded, because Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley actually pressed Wells Fargo. I believe this is the CEO. You can tell me on the other side of this clip if this is the CEO of Wells Fargo, on whether or not they would remain neutral in any sort of union organizing, and also whether they would commit to not retaliating against workers who are exercising their rights in order to organize. Let's take a look at that clip.
Will you commit to neutrality in the workers' organizing effort and ensure that workers who speak out do not face retaliation? And this is, I'm looking for a yes or no response.
We believe that we're best
yes or no
having a direct relationship with them.
Is that a yes or a no?
That is.
Will you commit to neutrality in the workers' organizing effort and ensure that workers who speak out do not face retaliation? It's really easy. Yes or no?
We will follow the law.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was Charles Scharf, who's the CEO of Wells Fargo, who you mentioned earlier, is getting fabulous pay raises. Isn't that nice for him? So what has the response been to this organizing effort?
Well, I will tell you, you are absolutely right. That is Charlie Scharf. I was actually a guest of Maxine Waters at that hearing. So if you... an indication about how it's going for us. It's going pretty well. But yes, retaliation rampant. In my own personal situation, I was asked to remove union signage from my Skype headline. Now, this turned into a 6-month battle with our legal department at Wells Fargo, and the culmination of it, because they could not answer the question of how was I identified, what is the process for, say, maybe somebody thought they actually saw something, and but they were wrong. What's the remediation process? That couldn't be answered, and our own legal department ended up agreeing with me and stating right at the, last minute before I was going to file a ULP, that I could reinstate my signage. Now, that's not the only example of retaliation. My manager was demoted, and I now report to a person who promoted a coworker, began sleeping with them, and then married her. And my direct manager is this person's best friend. So how is that fair? The other thing that is going on, and we've heard this from all divisions across Wells Fargo, managers are actually urging their direct reportees to join our union, to contact us. They've also informed us of the fact that Wells Fargo is bringing in labor and employment attorneys to educate managers about how to essentially suppress our efforts here. So Charlie Scharf tried to have us removed at that hearing that you saw right there, and have us with members of the Bank Policy Institute, but we stand strong, we stand invigorated, and if our own managers understand that there needs to be something more in order for us to advocate for ourselves and thereby our clients, that truly says something to me about how our efforts are being received in a positive way, but clearly we are up against a big force with Wells Fargo bringing in anti-union.
They're incredibly powerful, massive, tons of money. Like, they will do everything they can to make sure that they can keep all of their power and control. I have no doubt about it. Jessie, thank you so much for spending some time with us and breaking down, why you decided to get involved with this effort and how it's going. And, we really wish you all the best and, a lot of luck with what you're trying to pull off. Keep us updated.
Thanks for joining.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. And thank you guys for watching. I'll have more for you later. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.